Hi there, I'm Graham Lewis, and in this video we're going to explore how to draw boxplots, histograms and scatterplots in Excel and Fathom, and how to prepare the data in Excel for the two different packages for sketching those. So let's start off with a question. How does effort in homework vary across the grades? So you always start with a question that you want to answer, and then use the graphs and the data to help answer this question. Let's have a look at our data. So you can see our data, we have a question here. I tried my best with my homework, and I've already coded it. So 5 is strongly agree, down to 1 is strongly disagree. And we know we've got the grade of the students here as well. So to do a box plot in Excel, the first thing you need to do is select all the data. So highlight not the titles, start with the data, so grade 10 and 5, and scroll all the way down and highlight all the data. I'll just pause the video because there's a lot of data. Okay, so I've highlighted all of the data. And now what we're going to do is insert, and we're going to choose this statistical chart here, insert statistic chart, and I'm going to choose a box and whisker plot. So you can see here now we've got our box and whisker plot. It's not come out the nicest because it would have been nicer if grade 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 were in order, but we can still use this to compare. So we can see straight away that grade 7, a lot of people are trying very, very hard. Grade 8, there seems to be a dip, doesn't there? And then grade 9 over on the right here, not dissimilar to grade 10, and then grade 11 and grade 12 generally trying harder. So you'd have to describe those with shape, center and spread. So you'd copy this into your Word document. But before we copy it in, we need to give the chart a title. You must always have the titles and axes labeled. So box plot to show how hard students work with homework across grade level. Also, we need to actually give the axis labels. You can do that right in Excel, or you can do it after in Word by inserting text boxes, but we do need to do that as well, and then you would copy that in. So that's how to do comparative box plots in Excel. Doing a histogram is exactly the same, but instead of inserting a box plot, we'll insert a histogram. Let's try that. So you can see I've inserted a histogram and it looks horrible, and I have no idea what it's doing. It's clearly struggling with the grade level, separating out by grade and drawing multiple histograms. So Excel's not as good for this. Let's move it over to Fathom and see what we can do there. So remember, in Fathom, you want to now select the titles as well. So I'm going to select column A and B, Control C, open my Fathom and copy and paste it in there. So you drag down a collection, right click, paste cases. Don't forget to pull down a table. The data should be there, which it is, and notice it's got the titles in, which is really nice. Pull down a graph, and now we can draw our two graphs. So I'm going to put I try my best with my homework, and notice it's got a nice label on there, which is an advantage over Excel. And then I'm going to put that on the y-axis, separate it out by grade, and I can choose a box plot. And there's my box plots, which I much prefer to Excel because it does them horizontally rather than vertically. And we can also draw the histograms as well there. And so now we can copy those into our Word document. So you can see here we've got our question, how does effort in homework vary across the grades? And we've got the box plot drawn in Excel, or we could use the box plot in Fathom. I prefer the box plot in Fathom because it gives labels to the axes and I just need to give it a title, and I prefer horizontal ones, but it's completely your choice. And also we can look at the histogram. And here's the histogram. I would always draw the box plots and the histograms. I think they're both really good. The box plots are really good for seeing outliers, the interquartile range, the median, and skewness, and the histograms are great for seeing skewness and shape as well. And remember, when you're describing and comparing these distributions, to always use a shape measure, center measure, and spread measure. Okay, now let's answer another question. Let's look at a scatter plot in Excel and Fathom. So here's the question I'd like to answer. If a student understands the purpose of their homework more, do they try harder in it? So we want to find out and predict whether they try harder in their homework. So think carefully what goes on the x-axis and what goes on the y-axis. So here I want the explanatory variable to be the purpose, and I want the response variable to be the effort. I'm trying to predict if people put effort in, if they understand it. So purpose has to go on the horizontal axis as the explanatory, and effort has to go on the vertical axis as the response variable. Really important to get that right. Now, let's try and do that in Excel. Now, the problem with Excel when you're drawing a scatter plot is I try the best with my homework on the left, and I understand the purpose on the right. Excel will always put the one on the left on the horizontal axis. So this won't work, so we need to change this. So we need on the left, I understand the purpose, and on the right, I try my best. So I'm going to actually insert a column here, and then I can sort this out. Okay, so what I've actually done is I've copied those two columns into a new sheet. So in case I mess up. Now what I want to do is I want to copy all of this cell here, Control C, into the C column, Control V. And I don't really need the A column there, I can delete it. Now I understand the purpose on the left, and I try the best on my right, and I can draw the scatter plot in Excel by highlighting the two columns, going to Insert, and then I want to choose Scatter Plot, and there I have it. And that's not worked, so let's try again. I forgot in Excel you can't include the titles. You have to put the titles in yourself. So highlight just the data all the way down. I'll pause it because there's a lot, and then try again. So I've highlighted all the data. I'm going to go to Insert, Scatterplot, and let's see if that works. And again, we've got here, it's not showing very well. I think it's because we've got so much data actually, and everything is on there. So it actually has worked. Let's choose a smaller amount of data because 637 is massive. So everything is obviously in there. So let me choose just a small sample of say 30 of this. And that will be more like your product. So I did a smaller sample so not everything is in there, so it looks a bit clearer. It looks completely no relationship. We should not draw a line of best fit, but I've just drawn a line of best fit there quickly to get the R squared value. So the correlation coefficient is very close to 0, so there's no relationship between understanding the purpose of the homework and how hard a student tries in it, and we've answered that question. Now let's try this in Fathom. So in Fathom it's a bit easier. We can just highlight the two columns, B and C, Control C, and put that into our Fathom. So I'll bring down a new collection, paste cases, bring down a table, bring down a graph, and then I want to get this right. So I understand the purpose, just drag that on the x-axis, the horizontal, and I try my best on the y. And there we get as before because everything's done. Let's have a quick look at the least squares line and the correlation coefficient as well. Just bring up. You can see here the correlation coefficient, if we take the square root there, is going to be practically near to 0. There's no relationship again. Okay, so that's how to do scatterplots, boxplots, and histograms in Fathom and answer questions. Remember, you always start with a question, use the graph, draw the graph, and then write about it and answer your question. Hope you've enjoyed that video, and good luck with analysing your statistics.